February 12, 1912, Beijing. Behind vermilion walls 50 feet high, the Forbidden City holds its breath. Inside 9,000 rooms spread across 180 acres, a child sits on the dragon throne. 6-year-old Pui, the last emperor of the Qing dynasty. 2,788 years of imperial tradition about to end. But this isn't a story about one boy. It's about how 5 revolts across 70 years dismantled the world's most powerful family, a clan that once numbered 10,000 princes, now reduced to impoverished refugees selling palace treasures on Beijing street corners. How does a dynasty that ruled a quarter of humanity for nearly 3 centuries vanish in a single generation? Stand at the Meridian Gate today. Look up. The gold-tiled roofs catch the light like dragon scales. The scale defies comprehension. The Forbidden City isn't just a palace, it's a city within a city. 9,999.5 rooms, because only heaven deserved 10,000. 75 palaces, 17 imperial gardens. A moat 20 feet deep and 17 feet wide surrounding the entire complex. The numbers tell one story, the details tell another. Every roof beam carved from precious Nanmu wood, transported 2,000 miles from Sichuan forests. Every brick in the ceremonial halls, baked for 120 days, then soaked in tung oil for another 40. The dragon carved into marble at the Hall of Supreme Harmony weighs 250 tons. Moved from quarries using ice roads in winter, 20,000 laborers, pulling for 28 days straight. At the height of Qing power in 1790, during Emperor Qianlong's 80th birthday celebrations, the imperial household consumed resources that stagger the imagination. The department of the imperial household employed 37,000 people. The daily rice allowance for the palace exceeded 2 tons. The emperor alone owned 4,000 items of clothing. When the court moved to the summer palace each spring, the procession stretched 14 miles, 3,000 horses, 2,000 guards, 1,000 carts, loaded with furniture, art, and ceremonial objects. The Qing emperors didn't just rule China. They ruled the largest empire on earth, stretching from Siberia to Tibet, from the Pacific to Central Asia, 14 million square miles. 430 million subjects by 1850. 1 in 3 humans alive answered to the dragon throne. But beneath the gold leaf and marble, something was already breaking. By 1840, the annual budget of the imperial household reached 11 million taels of silver, roughly $540 million in today's currency. Just to maintain the Forbidden City, not to govern, not to defend, simply to exist. The boilers of empire ran on silver, and the coal was running out. Every year, maintenance crews replaced 30,000 roof tiles damaged by weather. Every month, craftsmen repaired wall paintings faded by smoke from 10,000 cooking fires. The heating system alone, those famous floors warmed by underground furnaces, required 400 workers shoveling coal through winter months. The astronomical costs weren't hidden from the emperors. They knew. Court records from 1850 show Emperor Xianfeng personally crossing out luxury expenditures, trying to stem the bleeding. But empires don't shrink gracefully. And the Qing imperial clan, the Zhou family, had grown too vast to feed. By mid-19th century, the imperial clan numbered over 10,000 members. Every male descendant of the founder, Nirachi, received a stipend. Every prince maintained his own palace, his own staff, his own retinue. The system worked when conquest brought silver flooding into Beijing. It broke when the conquest stopped. The question that haunted Emperor Xianfeng's private writings: how long can heaven's mandate survive on an empty treasury? He would die before learning the answer. But the revolts were already beginning. To understand the fall, you must understand the rise. Northern China burns. The Ming dynasty collapses under the weight of rebellion, plague, and famine. At the gates of Beijing, an unlikely force arrives, not Chinese, but Manchu. horsemen from the forests beyond the Great Wall, led by a clan that traced its lineage to a minor chieftain named Narachi, born in 1559 in what is now Liaoning province. Narachi started with nothing. 13 suits of armor inherited from his grandfather, a grudge against the Ming-sponsored tribe that killed his father, and a vision that bordered on madness: unite the Jurchen tribes, overthrow the Ming, and claim the Dragon Throne. He spent 44 years building an army. He created the 8-banner system military and social units that organized Manchu society into an unprecedented war machine. By his death in 1626, he controlled Manchuria. His son, Hun Taiji, declared a new dynasty in 1636, the Qing, pure in Chinese. A promise and a claim. When Ming rebels broke through Beijing's gates in 1644, Ming General Wu Sangui made a desperate gamble. He invited the Manchu armies south to restore order. The Manchus came. They never left. The architect of Qing supremacy was Emperor Kanshi, who reigned for 61 years starting at age 7. He didn't just conquer China, he absorbed it. He learned Chinese classics. He patronized scholars. He sponsored the compilation of the Kanshi Dictionary, still used today. He conquered Taiwan, Tibet, Mongolia, and Xinjiang. By his death in 1722, the Qing Empire was the largest contiguous land empire since the Mongols. His grandson Qianlong pushed further. He ruled for 60 years, abdicating only to avoid surpassing his grandfather's record. Under Qianlong, Qing China reached its territorial and cultural zenith. Population doubled to 300 million. The treasury overflowed. European diplomats came bearing gifts, seeking trade. Lord Macartney's 1793 mission to Beijing brought telescopes, clocks, and weapons offerings from King George III. Qianlong dismissed them as ingenious toys. But Qianlong's confidence masked a fatal miscalculation. The Qing built their power on a contradiction. They were conquerors who became administrators, warriors who became bureaucrats, Manchus who ruled Chinese subjects while trying to remain distinct. They forbade intermarriage. They mandated Manchu dress and the Q hairstyle that long-braid Chinese men were forced to wear on pain of death. Keep your hair, lose your head. Keep your head, lose your hair. The system worked for a century because Qing emperors were competent. They balanced Confucian governance with Manchu military tradition. They promoted talented Chinese officials while reserving key positions for Manchus. They expanded agricultural land, stabilized taxes, and prevented the regional warlordism that destroyed previous dynasties. But systems built on personal competence crumble when competence disappears. Emperor Jia Qing, who ruled from 1796 to 1820, wasn't incompetent. He was average. In a stable era, average suffices. But by 1796, stability was an illusion. Population had exploded to over 300 million, double what the land could sustainably support. Silver, the basis of the economy, was flooding out to pay for opium imports from British India. Corruption, purged by Kanshi and Qianlong, metastasized again through the bureaucracy. And the revolts began. They didn't know it yet, but the Qing were entering a death spiral. Each rebellion would weaken the dynasty further. Each weakening would spawn new rebellions. The mathematics of decline became inexorable. The first revolt was already smoldering in the mountains. The White Lotus Rebellion explodes across central China. The name came from a Buddhist millenarian sect, but the causes were earthly. Landless peasants, corrupt officials, Qing soldiers exhorting villages instead of protecting them. The rebellion lasted 9 years, consumed over 100 million taels of silver, twice the annual imperial revenue, and required 500,000 troops to suppress. The Qing won, but the victory cost more than silver. The banner system, that Manchu military machine that conquered China, was exposed as hollow. Banner soldiers, raised on stipends in peacetime, couldn't fight. The Qing had to recruit Chinese militia mercenaries loyal to their commanders, not the throne. The precedent was set. From now on, the dynasty would depend on forces it didn't fully control. Picture the imperial court in 1805. Emperor Jiaqing reviewing reports. The White Lotus is suppressed, but the treasury is empty. He cuts palace expenditures, reduces stipends to distant clan members, but the bills keep coming. Flood control on the Yellow River, repairs to the Grand Canal, garrison salaries in Tibet and Xinjiang. Each year, the gap between revenue and expenses widens. Behind closed doors, a more insidious crisis unfolds. The imperial clan has metastasized into a parasitic class. By 1800, 10,000 princes, dukes, and nobles draw stipends. Many do nothing. They can't take the civil service exams. Those are for Chinese commoners trying to rise through bureaucracy. They can't engage in commerce that's beneath imperial dignity. They simply exist, consuming resources, generation after generation. Court records revealed desperate measures. Junior princes petition for increased stipends, claiming poverty. The Board of Revenue responds with audits, discovering princes gambling away allowances, selling titles, leasing palace properties for cash. The system designed to maintain Manchu elite dignity instead breeds indolence and resentment. Meanwhile, real power shifts. In the provinces, governors like Lin Zexu gain prestige suppressing unrest. They command armies, they collect taxes. They make decisions without waiting months for Beijing's approval. The emperor's authority, once absolute, becomes theoretical. The arithmetic turned brutal centralized dynasties require both resources and communication speed. The Qing had neither. Then came opium. By 1830, opium imports from British India reach 2,000 tons annually. 12 million Chinese are addicted. Silver, the foundation of the economy, hemorrhages out of China to pay for the drug. The trade deficit becomes catastrophic. Emperor Daoguang, Joseong's son, faces an impossible choice. Allow the trade and watch the economy collapse. Ban it and fight the British Empire. He chose to fight. Commissioner Lin Zexu seized and destroyed 20,000 chests of British opium in Canton in 1839. Britain responded with gunboats. The First Opium War lasted 3 years. The Qing lost every major battle. British steam-powered warships and rifled artillery against Qing junks and matchlocks. It wasn't a war. It was a massacre. The Treaty of Nanking in 1842 forced China to cede Hong Kong, pay 21 million silver dollars in reparations, and open 5 ports to British trade. The unequal treaty system was born. Over the next 70 years, 18 foreign powers would impose similar treaties, carving spheres of influence from Qing territory. But the foreign humiliation was merely backdrop to the real catastrophe: internal collapse. The cost of the Opium War emptied the treasury. The emperor raised taxes. The bureaucracy, already corrupt, squeezed harder. In Guangxi province, southern China, poverty and resentment reached critical mass. A failed civil service examination candidate named Heng Shuquan begins preaching. He claims visions of God, the Christian God, filtered through badly translated missionary pamphlets. He declares himself the younger brother of Jesus Christ, sent to overthrow the Qing and establish a heavenly kingdom. Thousands flock to his banner. By 1851, the Taiping Rebellion ignites. This wasn't a peasant uprising. It was an apocalyptic civil war. The Taiping established their capital at Nanking, ruling 30 million people across 6 provinces. They banned opium, alcohol, prostitution, and foot binding. They redistributed land. They promised equality between men and women. And they slaughtered anyone who resisted. Manchu garrisons massacred to the last child. The Qing response: they couldn't muster one. The banner armies were useless. Beijing turned to Chinese generals like Zheng Gofan and Li Hengzhang, who built regional armies funded by local taxes. These armies fought for 14 years. The death toll reached 20 to 30 million, the bloodiest civil war in human history until the 20th century. The Qing survived. But the dynasty that emerged from the Taiping Rebellion wasn't the same. Power now resided in provincial governors and their personal armies. The imperial court became a puppet theater, gilded, ceremonial, irrelevant. And the revolts kept coming. 1855 to 1873, the Qing Rebellion in Yunnan, the Dungan Revolt in the northwest. Each suppressed at staggering cost. Each leaving provinces devastated, millions dead, and the dynasty weaker. By 1860, Qing emperors no longer controlled their empire. They negotiated with their own generals. Foreign troops occupied Beijing twice in 1860 and 1900, burning the Summer Palace, forcing the court to flee like refugees. Stand in the Forbidden City during these decades. The gold leaf is peeling. Roof repairs are delayed for lack of funds. Sections of the palace are closed because there's no money to heat them. The department of the imperial household, once 37,000 strong, is cut to fewer than 10,000. Princes sell family heirlooms to maintain appearances. The hidden cost of empire had become visible, and everyone could see the dynasty was bankrupt financially, militarily, morally. The turning point comes not with a battle, but with a collision of disasters that no reform could prevent. The Qing stumble into war with Japan over Korea. Japan, once China's tributary state, once considered a backward island, has modernized. They have railroads, telegraphs, a conscript army trained by Germans, a navy built in British shipyards. The Qing have numbers and tradition. The war lasts 9 months. The Qing lose every major engagement. The Beiyang fleet, China's modern navy and the pride of reformers, is obliterated at the Battle of the Yalu River. Japanese troops land in Manchuria, the Qing homeland. The peace treaty cedes Taiwan and pays 200 million taels in reparations. The shockwaves are seismic. For 1,000 years, China was the center. Tributary states kowtowed to the emperor. Chinese civilization was synonymous with civilization itself. Now Japan dictates terms. The psychological wound cuts deeper than territorial loss. In the Forbidden City, the crisis becomes personal. Emperor Guangxu, young and desperate, backs radical reformers. The 100 Days Reform of 1898 tries to modernize everything simultaneously: education, military, government, economy. It lasts 103 days before conservative forces led by Empress Dowager Cixi stage a coup. Guangxu is placed under house arrest. Reformers are executed or flee. Cixi, the power behind the throne for 40 years, makes a fatal gamble. The Boxer Rebellion erupts. A peasant movement claiming mystical immunity to bullets targets foreigners and Chinese Christians. Rather than suppress them, Cixi supports them. She declares war on 8 foreign powers simultaneously: Britain, France, Germany, Russia, Japan, America, Austria-Hungary, and Italy. The Boxers besiege foreign legations in Beijing for 55 days. International forces march from the coast, 500 miles inland. They break the siege, occupy Beijing, and force the imperial court to flee to Xi'an in the middle of the night, the emperor and empress dowager, abandoning the Forbidden City like thieves. The Protocol of 1901 demands 450 million taels in reparations, to be paid over 39 years with interest. The total exceeds 600 million. For perspective, annual Qing revenue in 1900 was 88 million taels. The dynasty was effectively bankrupted for the next 4 decades. By 1905, the mathematics of decline became inescapable. The Qing couldn't pay reparations without foreign loans. Loans required collateral taxes on salt, customs revenues, even railroad rights. Foreign banks effectively controlled Chinese finances. Provincial governors, maintaining their own armies, stopped remitting taxes to Beijing. The center could not hold because the center was hollow. The fifth revolt wasn't a peasant uprising or foreign invasion, it was revolution. October 10, 1911, Wuchang. A garrison mutiny spreads. Within weeks, 15 provinces declare independence. The revolutionary forces have no unified command, no clear ideology beyond end the Qing. But they don't need one. The dynasty implodes under its own weight. But Yizheng panics. The court recalls Yuan Shikai, the general they dismissed in 1909 for having too much power. He's their only hope. Yuan takes command, but he's already negotiating with revolutionaries. He brokers a deal, the Qing abdicate, Yuan becomes president of a new republic. The imperial family retains the Forbidden City and receives an annual allowance. February 12, 1912, the Edict of Abdication is read. 6-year-old Pui, on the throne barely 3 years, doesn't understand why his mother is crying. The document promises the Qing imperial family continued dignity. The reality will be very different. By 1924, warlord troops storm the Forbidden City and expel Pui. The imperial family literally become refugees in their own capital. The promised stipend, never paid. Princes sell calligraphy, furniture, porcelain, anything to survive. Some become laborers. Some become beggars. The 5 revolts, White Lotus, Taiping, Northwestern Muslim, Boxer, Republican spanning 116 years, dismantled the dynasty piece by piece. Each rebellion was suppressed or negotiated, but the cumulative cost was catastrophic. The Qing spent more on suppression than they collected in revenue for decades. The treasury never recovered. The legitimacy never returned. Stand in the Forbidden City during those final days. Imagine the emperor's private quarters, servants packing frantically, treasures hidden or smuggled out. The 6-year-old boy clutching his toys, surrounded by adults who don't explain what's happening. The doors closing behind them. 24 emperors ruled from these halls over 5 centuries. Now silence. Today, tourists pour through the Meridian Gate 15 million annually. They photograph the Hall of Supreme Harmony. They peer into the emperor's bedroom, now roped off and empty. They buy postcards of Pui in full imperial regalia, a child playing emperor while the world outside the walls burned. The Forbidden City survived. The dynasty did not. Puyi's story reads like tragedy written by someone who didn't know when to end it. After expulsion in 1924, he fled to Japanese-controlled Tianjin. In 1932, Japan invaded Manchuria and installed him as puppet emperor of Manchukuo, a fake country, a fake throne. He signed documents he didn't write, met dignitaries who mocked him behind his back. When Japan surrendered in 1945, Soviet troops captured him. He spent 10 years in Chinese communist prisons, undergoing re-education. The man who once couldn't dress himself learned to sweep floors, clean toilets, and accept communist ideology. In 1959, he was released. He worked as a gardener in the Beijing Botanical Gardens, then as an editor at a historical archive. The last emperor of China died of kidney cancer in 1967. During the Cultural Revolution, a commoner with a numbered badge. The broader Qing imperial clan scattered. Some fled to Taiwan with the nationalists. Some joined the Communist Party, renouncing their heritage. Some disappeared into China's vast population, hiding their lineage. By the 1980s, when China began acknowledging its imperial past, genealogists struggled to trace survivors. Thousands of descendants exist today, but they're teachers, engineers, shop owners, no different from anyone else. The palaces tell the story, the people can't. The Forbidden City became a museum in 1925, even while Pui still claimed the title of emperor from his compound in Tianjin. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. In the 1930s, the nationalist government evacuated the most precious artifacts ahead of Japanese invasion, shipping them to Taiwan in 1949, where they remain in the National Palace Museum in Taipei. The communist government slowly restored what remained, turning the Forbidden City into a monument to both imperial grandeur and feudal oppression. What the 5 revolts teach us isn't simple. This wasn't a morality tale about decadence or divine punishment. The Qing fell because systems designed for one era broke under the pressures of another. They built an empire with 18th century tools and tried to maintain it in the 19th century world of industrialization, nationalism, and global capitalism. The hidden cost, that arithmetic of silver and soldiers, was always there. Kanchi and Qianlong could afford it because conquest brought revenue. When conquest stopped, when populations exploded, when opium drained silver, when foreign powers imposed unequal treaties, the foundation cracked. Each revolt was both symptom and accelerant. The White Lotus drained the treasury. The Taiping destroyed legitimacy. The Boxer Rebellion invited foreign occupation. The Republican Revolution merely formalized what everyone already knew. The dynasty was dead. Only the funeral remained. Walk through the Forbidden City today, and you're walking through a tomb. The buildings stand, but the system they housed is gone. The vermilion paint is fresh, applied by communist government workers. The tourists are Chinese citizens who no longer kowtow to anyone. The throne sits empty under glass. The final lesson might be this: empires don't end because they're conquered. They end because they can't pay their bills. The Qing Imperial clan, 10,000 princes at their height, understood this too late. They knew the revolts were coming. They knew the silver was running out. They knew the foreign powers were circling. They didn't know how to stop it, because the system itself was the problem. Today, if you ask Chinese historians about the fall of the Qing, they'll talk about modernization failures, imperialism, feudalism's collapse. All true. But stand in the Hall of Supreme Harmony at dusk, when the tourists leave and the shadows lengthen, and you feel something simpler. The weight of 1,000 years, the silence of dynasties ended, the echo of a child emperor asking why his mother is crying. 5 revolts, 1 dynasty. And the question that haunts every empire: how long can heaven's mandate survive on empty promises? The Forbidden City has its answer, carved in gold and silence. February 12, 1912, the last edict is signed. The Dragon Throne is empty. 3,000 rooms fall silent. But the story doesn't end with abdication. It ends 55 years later in a Beijing hospital room, where a 71-year-old gardener named Pui dies, still trying to understand what it means to be the last emperor of an empire that collapsed under the weight of its own grandeur. The Qing didn't fall in a day. They fell across a century, one rebellion at a time, one unpaid bill at a time, one compromise at a time, until nothing remained but memory and museums. Today, 15 million people walk through the Forbidden City annually, photographing architecture too beautiful to die. They don't see the ghosts. They don't hear the 5 revolts echoing through marble halls. They see a palace. But palaces are just stones without the people who made them matter. And those people, 10,000 princes, reduced to refugees, they're the real story. The dynasty ended. But the fall never stops.